Hello, my name is Jenny Hansen. I am going to be giving my critical review of current event presentation this week. The article that I selected for this is entitled Assisted Living Care Costs Increased 6.7% in 2018. It's from the Senior Housing News website, and the link is listed below. So in terms of the relevance and intended audience of this article, this week we are looking into long-term care. This article discussed some of the cost increases of assisted living, which, as the textbook had discussed, is kind of growing as opposed to nursing homes where the beds are not filling as much as they used to. It compares it against other aspects of long-term care, such as nursing homes, adult daycare, and home health services. The article then kind of looked at some of the market factors and workforce supply and demand factors that are causing these costs to increase, which is also kind of relevant to some of the things that were discussed in the chapter this week. The source for this article was the Senior Housing News website. The Senior Housing News website, I looked into it, and it describes itself as the leading source for news and information regarding the senior housing industry, with a national reach of over 30,000 professionals that includes senior housing operators, developers, banking institutions, real estate investment trusts, private equity, and services providers catering to the industry. So, therefore, it's aimed more at those who are on the business side of the senior housing industry. Senior citizens themselves are interested. They might look at this website, but it's more for those kind of running things behind the scenes. Okay, so then if we get into a critical appraisal of the article. So the data from this article, it gave this chart that's listed to the right. The data source for the chart was the Genworth Cost of Care Survey. I looked that up, and it's consisted of 15,500 surveys of providers selected randomly from a nationwide database representing 14% of all assisted living facilities. So it's a fairly large sample, and it seems like it would be representative since it was kind of selected randomly. They included assisted living facilities from every state. So I thought that was a fairly valid data source to use. What it showed was that assisted living is still not as costly as some of the other forms of intensive long-term care, but its prices are increasing the most quickly as its demand is rising. So as more and more seniors start to see assisted living as something that they would look into for long-term care, its prices are increasing. It then gave a good analysis of some of the factors that are causing the cost increase. So it talked about how there's a skilled labor shortage, and it kind of got into how, because there is this labor shortage, more workers are working overtime, and because their skills are in demand, they're able to kind of demand more benefits, such as better overtime pay, steady hours, and such. It also discussed that seniors now are waiting a little bit too long sometimes to get into long-term care, which puts more pressure on the facilities, and they have to change accordingly and get more staffing, which again feeds into the problem of having a shortage of staffing. It also discussed that seniors are not realizing the costs of long-term care, and they sometimes they don't have the coverage that they thought they did. They thought their coverage would cover long-term care and assisted living, but it doesn't. So not only are the costs increasing, but seniors are finding themselves less and less able to have the coverage to pay for it. So I thought this was a pretty good article that kind of broke down what the costs look like, how they're increasing, and some of the factors that are behind these cost increases and the problems that they're causing. I think it's a sort of a difficult situation in terms of there's no clear solution to how we can both attract quality staff and pay them appropriately, yet keep the cost down for seniors who might not have the coverage and might need more care. So overall, an interesting article, and thank you for listening to this presentation.